3 months ago, Capcom released Monster Hunter World, the first original entry to the series for consoles in many years. If you've already played a Monster Hunter game, you'll be familiar here but notice a few upgrades. And if you've never played one before, this is the perfect opportunity to jump in. I just really want to make that clear. Monster Hunter World deviates from recent entries to the franchise by not feeling completely restrained on the Xbox One and PS4. For years now, Monster Hunter games have thrived on the 3DS and before that on Sony's PSP, but to me the games have always felt like they deserved a much bigger entry that allows the player to really take in the scope of what the games are trying to do. The controls were always limited too because neither system had a second analog stick for camera control, though the new 3DS does have that gimpy little nub that sort of takes care of that, I guess. On the Wii, we did get Monster Hunter Tri, which then got a re-release as Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on Wii U. Both were fine, but the player base just wasn't there for many reasons, which affects the main purpose of the games, to team up and slay beasts. But hoo boy! Now, in 2018, we finally have a Monster Hunter game that controls well, has huge open environments, and multiplayer systems strong enough to take your hunts online with ease. So now I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should be getting into Monster Hunter World if you haven't already. First up, the environments. In previous Monster Hunters, you would have to constantly wait for the game to load up new areas of a region you're hunting in. This was because of the limitations of the consoles not being able to run a large-scale map concurrently. Now though, the load times have been cut back drastically, and the environments you venture through feel so much larger and organic. The regions are so big that you'll want to take advantage of fast travelling between campsites to better track monsters. In fact, this affects the way that you hunt because you can very much see monsters and habitats way off in the distance, making you feel much more immersed in the experience. Next up, fireflies. Carrying on from the large environments, it's easy to get lost in Monster Hunter World, which is where the new firefly system comes in to make tracking such a snap. Throughout the various regions, you eventually come across all sorts of monster tracks, traces, and flora that have you feeling like you're constantly doing something. Even while you're chasing down Diablos, your fireflies can lead you to nearby herbs or bugs to quickly craft new medicines or gear to top you up for the next fight. Third are the online systems. The Monster Hunter games have always pushed the social experience, particularly when it comes to hunting the bigger monsters. In Monster Hunter World, it's now easy to drop in and out of people's games and vice versa. You can either party up with friends pre-hunt or open up a lobby while it loads to allow others to join you. Or if you're soloing, but realise you're in over your head, which, in these games, isn't something to be embarrassed about really, you can head to the menu and opt to fire an SOS flare, which allows others to respond by joining and helping to finish the mission. I spent the first 20 hours just playing alone, but after sending out an SOS in a tough battle, I now frequently check to see who else is calling for assistance and join in just for fun. I honestly can't recall any other game with similar systems that I've taken advantage of this. Fourthly, hunts can get crazy. In previous games, you would usually be locked into hunting one type of large monster per mission despite the limited regions you can visit. In Monster Hunter World though, the game doesn't care what you're hunting. There are always other giant monsters out there prowling about. What that means is you might be duking it out with a Rathalos and be close to slaying it, only to be blindsided by an Anjanath who's decided to join in. This makes fights unpredictable because you may think you're an amazing hunter who can take advantage of traps and platforms, but then a surprise monster will just barge in, turning everything into a giant brawl and making you, and any other fellow hunters in your posse, have to rethink your entire strategy. And finally, the game is beautiful. I played this on a launch Xbox One, and while the frame rate isn't rock solid or the resolution isn't super crisp, Monster Hunter World still looks incredible. Cutscenes are immersive, environments are vibrant, and every monster looks and moves so brilliantly. Even the story, which is kind of silly when you read into the fact everyone's claiming they're researching this new world you've ventured into, but in fact you're all just killing everything you can just to make clothes, feels substantial in a way that hasn't before in the franchise. Okay, so there's so much more I could gush about with Monster Hunter World, but really it's just the kind of game you've got to get your hands on and try for yourself. I will warn that at first the controls and its systems might feel a bit confusing at first, but this game does do well to teach you as much as possible in the first few hours, maybe even a little too much. But the charm, the quirkiness of the characters, and the thrill of taking down huge beasts either by yourself or with a team is just so fun and rewarding that you'll likely be coming back for many hours. At least, I know I definitely will.